Money isn't a dream.
It's a weapon, polished by greed, sharpened by fear. It doesn't just buy comfort, it buys control. And the moment you chase it without understanding it, you've already lost the game.
Because money doesn't create power.
Exposes who's always had it. Machiavelli saw that. He never worshipped wealth. He used it to test loyalty, to expose weakness, to bend the world in silence. Most people chase gold. The wise learn to control the ones who do. Part 1. Money doesn't build power, it reveals it. Money doesn't make you powerful. It just unmasks what kind of weak you've been hiding. Money isn't the prize, it's the spotlight. And the moment it hits you, your real self steps forward, unfiltered, exposed. That's why the climb feels cleaner than the arrival. Because when you're hungry, you can pretend to be humble. When you're broke, discipline looks like virtue. But the second money arrives, the act ends. That's when your truth walks in wearing your face. Machiavelli understood that better than anyone. He watched empires crumble not from poverty, but from prosperity. He said the easiest way to destroy a man isn't to starve him, it's to feed him without teaching him restraint. Give him more than he's ready to handle, and he'll dig his own grave trying to look important. That's the curse of unearned wealth. It amplifies every insecurity you've buried under ambition. You've seen it yourself. Someone finally gets the money they prayed for, and instead of becoming powerful, they become louder. They start talking more, posting more, needing more. They believe the extra zero in their account has made them somebody. But money doesn't change the soul. It just funds the mask. Here's the first Machiavellian truth. Money is a magnifier, not a maker. It doesn't turn you into something new. It turns you into something visible. That's why the wise stay calm when wealth enters their life, because they were already rich in structure before the world could see it. Watch how fragile people react when power touches them. A coward will build walls and call them standards. A manipulator will hand out favors to buy fake loyalty.
And the fool, he'll throw parties to convince himself he's celebrated, not surrounded.
Machiavelli saw through all that. He understood that the rich man who needs to prove he's rich is already poor. The game isn't about getting money. It's about containing it, letting it orbit you without owning you.
That's what separates the powerful from the...
A performer flashes money to prove they're winning. The powerful move money quietly to prove they're in control. You'll notice the difference in silence. The man who's really in control doesn't rush to speak. His wealth doesn't need applause. His presence is the applause. Because when your discipline builds your foundation, not your ego, people adjust to your silence. They feel it before you open your mouth. That's real power, the kind that doesn't shout. Machiavelli warned that those who chase money to feel safe will always end up serving those who use it strategically. The rich aren't always powerful. Sometimes they're just heavily decorated prisoners. You can tell who's free by watching who can say no, because no is the real currency of strength. And the broke man isn't the one without cash. It's the one who can't afford to walk away. So if you want to build Machiavellian power, you start from within, structure before status, control before cash. Learn to master the same things money exposes, patience, ego, self-restraint. Then when the wealth comes, it simply reflects what was already built. That's why some men stay calm when fortune hits.
They've seen it coming.
They've trained for it. Money doesn't shock them because it doesn't define them. It's not their identity, it's their instrument. And instruments are meant to be played, not worshipped. The weak chase money hoping it will cover their insecurities. The strong attract money because their structure demands it. And the difference is night and day. The weak say, I want to look powerful. The strong say, I want to be untouchable. Machiavelli's rule is brutal but simple. Don't chase money to feel strong. Build strength so money chases you. Build habits that don't need applause, and you'll find yourself holding power that doesn't need validation. So next time you see someone flaunting wealth, don't be impressed. Be observant.
You're not looking at power.
You're looking at exposure. Because power doesn't announce itself, it's felt. And when you finally reach that level, when your worth is built, not borrowed, you won't have to say you're powerful. The silence around you will say it for you. That's part 1, how money reveals, not builds. Part 2, wealth without mystery is weakness. The moment they can count what you have, they start planning how to take it. The loud rich get hunted. The quiet rich build empires. In a world obsessed with showing off, mystery has become a weapon. Everyone wants to prove they've made it. The car, the watch, the view. But here's the truth Machiavelli understood. The more you show, the less you control, because visibility invites strategy and against you. Every post, every flex, every detail you reveal becomes a map for someone else's ambition. Machiavelli didn't play that game. He believed that true power exists in what people can't see. The moment your wealth speaks louder than your mind, you've already surrendered leverage. The strong build quietly. They move in silence not because they're scared, but because they know noise kills positioning. Look at how people behave today.
Everyone's fighting for attention, not realizing that attention is surveillance.
The more they know about your success, the easier it is to calculate your downfall. Machiavelli would have laughed at influencers who treat privacy like poverty. Because when you show your moves, you don't just prove your worth, you mark your weak spot. Here's the Machiavellian paradox. Concealment is power. When no one can predict your reach, they can't prepare for your rise. When they underestimate you, they walk into your plans willingly. That's the beauty of strategic invisibility. It turns arrogance into your camouflage. While they're busy performing success, you're busy becoming it. Machiavelli studied kings who vanished from public eye for months. Not to retreat, but to expand. He said, disappear while you build. Reappear when the world can't compete. The silence between your moves creates anxiety in your rivals. They start to guess, to speculate, to fear what they can't confirm. That fear is leverage. You don't need to prove that you're rich. You need people to suspect it, quietly, uncomfortably, endlessly. Let them whisper your name, not tag it. Because when people can't measure your success, they inflate it. And that exaggeration? That's free power. Machiavelli would say, never show your gold until it's too late for them to take it. The world rewards those who can delay applause. The rich man who flaunts his wealth builds a fan base. The rich man who hides it builds a legacy. Fans fade. Legacies feed generation. In the digital age, exposure feels addictive. Validation feels like oxygen. But every bit of validation is a small surrender. Every time you prove yourself, you lower your status order because the powerful don't explain. They don't post their milestones. They let their absence speak. They let rumors do the talking. And every rumor becomes marketing without effort. Machiavelli understood the art of becoming unreachable. When people think they have access to you, they stop respecting you. But when access feels earned, they guard it like treasure.
That's why he built in shadow.
He scaled in silence. He let others assume he was doing less, while secretly tightening his control. Because no one attacks what they underestimate. Power moves differently when no one can track it. You become unpredictable. And unpredictability breeds respect. People stop plotting against you when they can't even locate your next step. That's the brilliance of mystery. It creates safety without force. Look around. The loud lose longevity. They trend, then vanish. The quiet, the patient, the calculating, they become institutions. They don't rise overnight. They grow roots while others chase lights. And when they finally step into the open, it's not to prove anything, it's to collect. Machiavelli would remind you that control is lost in the noise. Every public victory makes you visible to someone who wants what you have. But when your moves are silent, your influence compounds without interruption. Your enemies can't destroy what they can't find, so stop advertising your wins. Don't feed people's curiosities, feed their confusion. Let them think you're surviving while you're silently dominating. Let them question your pace while you design your permanence. Because power isn't about being seen. It's about being felt in your absence. The rich flex what they own. The powerful hide what they control. And that difference is what Machiavelli built his empire on. He mastered the art of appearing ordinary while operating extraordinary. So if you want to move like him, remember this. Silence isn't emptiness.
It's storage.
Every quiet moment is power collecting interest. And when the time comes, when you finally step forward, it won't look like success. It'll look like inevitability, and that's how real power works. Unseen, unreadable, unstoppable. Part 3. Never depend on money you don't control. If someone else can pause your income, they already own you. Dependence is the prettiest form of slavery. Most people think earning money equals power. They think a steady paycheck means control, but that's the biggest lie the system ever sold. You can earn every day and still be owned, because earning isn't owning. Machiavelli understood that the person who controls your income controls your choices. You may have the money in your hand, but if someone else can stop it, freeze it, or redirect it, you're just holding a leash that someone else is pulling. He feared one thing more than poverty: dependence. Because dependence is disguised comfort. It feels safe, but it quietly trains obedience. You don't even notice it. You just start saying yes more often, lowering your tone, adjusting your opinions, staying quiet to keep the flow going. And over time, your survival becomes someone else's permission slip. Machiavelli said, "The one who feeds you owns you." And if that line makes you uncomfortable, it should. Look around. The influencer who can't post the truth because a brand might drop them. The employee who nods through every meeting, terrified of losing a salary. The creator who fears an algorithm more than they fear mediocrity. They all call themselves independent, but they live on borrowed oxygen. Dependence isn't about poverty, it's about control. The richest people in the world still kneel every day. They just kneel in nicer suits. Machiavelli saw that, and he built his world differently. He built what he called financial fortresses, systems that made him valuable even in silence.
Streams that didn't depend on applause. Income that didn't require present.
Because when your survival depends on attention, you're not building wealth. You're performing for it. He believed that real power is when you can vanish for months and your life keeps running. When your phone can die and your income doesn't. That's when you've crossed the line from earning to owning. And it doesn't start with millions, it starts with structure. The courage to say, this part of my life will not be rented. You can see the trap everywhere. People say, I work for freedom, but their whole lifestyle is a cage with glass walls. They think the paychecks are wings, but they're actually weights, because they've built nothing that survives silence, and silence is the ultimate test. If everything you've built collapses the moment you stop showing up, you don't have leverage, you have a performance contract. Machiavelli taught that you must own your output. Own the means, own the distribution, own the platform. He didn't want to depend on applause. He wanted to depend on structure. Because applause fades, systems don't. When your money is built on systems, it moves while you sleep, multiplies while you rest, and protects you while the world burns. And here's where it gets darker. The person who depends on someone else's money will always censor themselves. You don't have to threaten them. They'll anticipate punishment and behave before you even ask. Machiavelli saw this as the most elegant form of control. Make people fear losing what they think they earned, and they'll enslave themselves. No chains, no commands, just quiet compliance wrapped in gratitude. So how do you escape that? You start by asking the hardest question. Could one phone call end my security? If the answer is yes, you're not in control. You're in costume. You've dressed your dependence as success. Machiavelli's solution was surgical. Build systems that survive your silence. Don't depend on permission. Depend on design.
Multiple incomes.
Private reserves. Skills that print money without platform. And above all, control distribution. Because if you can decide where money goes, you control how it returns. Understand this. Your goal isn't to get rich. It's to become unreachable. To design a life where no single person, company, or system can threaten your peace. Because the one who controls the flow controls the frame. Machiavelli didn't chase validation. He chased autonomy. He didn't build brands. He built fortresses, protected, layered, silent. And when people asked him why he was so secretive, he smiled and said, because silence is the only thing they can't tax. If you want to walk that path, stop worshipping income and start designing independence. Don't show the world your streams, secure them.
Don't talk about your structure.
Because when the applause fades and the platforms change, The quiet will test everything you've built, and when that day comes, you'll see the truth. The man who controls his money sleeps like a king. The man who rents his peace never sleeps at all. That's Machiavelli's third law. Never depend on money you don't control. Because the second you need permission to live, you've already sold your freedom. Part 4, Money Tests. Loyalty better than love ever could. If you want to see who's real, give them money. If they change, they were never loyal. They were just waiting to price themselves. Machiavelli used to say, love lies, loyalty doesn't. And he was right. People will swear they're with you till the end, until the zeros start showing up. That's when the masks fall. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. It's the loudest truth serum ever invented. He watched empires crumble, not from enemies, but from friends who got paid. Because money has a way of exposing what loyalty really costs. You think you've got a circle, but sometimes it's just a crowd waiting for the right offer. The difference between friend and opportunist isn't in how they act when you're struggling. It's in how they act when you start winning. Loyalty isn't tested in your silence, it's tested in your shine. When your life starts moving up, watch who stops clapping. Some will drift away quietly, some will compete, and some will pretend to support you while slowly keeping score. Machiavelli didn't take it personally.
He expected it.
He understood that loyalty is conditional when survival depends on greed. He said, never trust someone who hasn't been tempted. Because loyalty that's never faced money isn't loyalty, it's theory. Everyone looks loyal when broke. Everyone looks humble when powerless. But drop opportunity into the mix and suddenly you'll see who was waiting for their exit. Machiavelli saw that the moment wealth entered the picture, emotions became transactions. Love turned into leverage. Respect turned into currency. That's why he didn't test loyalty with words. He tested it with silence, success, and money. He'd offer someone a deal and watch how their eyes moved.
A loyal person looks at what's fair. A greedy one looks at what's missing. Here's the truth. Money doesn't destroy relationships. It exposes their architecture.
If trust was real, money makes it stronger.
If it was fake, money tears it apart.
That's why the rich often look paranoid. They've simply seen too much truth. They know affection can be bought, praise can be hired, and loyalty can be rented by the highest bidder. Machiavelli refused to buy loyalty. He wanted it proven. Because bought loyalty expires.
It lasts as long as the money flows.
True loyalty is dangerous. It doesn't calculate risk. It doesn't seek return. It stays even when staying isn't profitable.
That's why it's so rare. He used to test people quietly.
A missed payment, a small delay, a rumor, just to see who twitched first. Because the one who stays loyal under discomfort is the only one you can trust with comfort. Everyone claims loyalty until it costs them something. Money is the perfect storm for human nature. It triggers greed, fear, envy, all the quiet poisons hiding beneath smiles. Machiavelli studied this. He'd say, give someone the power to betray you. Then watch what they do with it. That's where truth hides, not in their words, but in their options. If you want to move like Machiavelli, you learn to listen more than you speak. Watch how people react to your success, not how they support your struggle. It's easy to stand beside the underdog. There's no threat there. But when you rise, your presence becomes a mirror. It reflects people's insecurities. The ones who were loyal to your weakness won't always survive your power. Machiavelli's loyalty wasn't emotional. It was strategic. He didn't need people to love him.
He needed them to stand firm.
He believed loyalty should be tested early, not admired late. Because the later you discover betrayal, the deeper it cuts. He'd say, expose greed before it exposes you. That's how he stayed alive, not through trust, but through tests. And every test started with money.
A little extra, a delayed payment.
A tempting offer. Watch closely. Loyalty will always leave breadcrumbs before it breaks, and when betrayal came, because it always does, he never begged or argued. He'd just smile and say, you sold yourself too cheap, because betrayal doesn't hurt when you expect it. It only hurts when you mistake it for love. So when you build your circle, remember this. Loyalty isn't proven in pain, it's proven in prosperity. It's not about who helps you up when you're down, it's about who doesn't push you when you're climbing. Machiavelli left behind one of his coldest lessons. Never test loyalty with promises, test it with opportunity. Because words cost nothing, but opportunity costs truth. And when you find the few who stay real when money enters the room, protect them like treasure. Because in a world where everyone's got a price, those who don't are priceless. Part 5. Money can't buy power, but it exposes who deserves it. Money is just energy. In weak hands it burns.
In strong hands, it builds empire. Machiavelli believed that power and money were never the same thing. Money is just the test. Power is the result.
You can inherit wealth, but you can't inherit strength. And the moment the world gives you resources, it also gives you exposure. Money hands you the mic, and what you say after that decides whether people follow or forget you. He saw how fast people crumble when money arrives. Some lose their hunger. Some lose their soul. Some start confusing fear with respect. That's the curse of unearned power. It fades the second people stop pretending to believe in it. Real power doesn't need to scream.
It doesn't even need to announce it.
It moves quietly, and the world adjusts, Machiavelli said. Money only belongs to those who know what to do without it. That line confused people, but he meant that the truly powerful could lose everything today and rebuild by instinct, because power isn't in the money, it's in the pattern, the structure, the mindset.
Money is the symptom of power, not the source. Look around.
People chase the illusion of status, trying to look powerful instead of being powerful. They wear the symbols, the watch, the car, the followers, but they can't stand silence.
They need the performance. That's how you know they never built power, they just borrowed.
Because true power doesn't depend on visibility. It grows even in isolation. Machiavelli respected people who could disappear with nothing and return with more. He called them architects. They didn't rely on luck. They relied on design, discipline, information, timing. That's what separates a rich man from a powerful one. The rich man buys comfort. The powerful man buys time. And when he buys time, he uses it to study the game, to see what people miss while they're flexing. He learns the rules, then rewrites them. Because money can only go so far when you're playing someone else's system. Machiavelli built his own systems, ways to make sure that even when he was outnumbered, he was never outplayed. Here's his truth. Money exposes the soul. If you were selfish broke, you'll be dangerous rich. If you were disciplined broke, you'll be unstoppable rich. Money doesn't create,
it amplifies.
It multiplies whatever's already inside you. That's why he never feared losing it. He feared losing the focus that earned it. He watched people crumble because they thought power was about control. But control is temporary. Influence lasts longer. Money might make people obey you, but power makes them align with you, willingly, permanently. That's the difference. And that difference is what separates those who stay relevant from those who peak and vanish. Machiavelli's philosophy was simple but sharp. Money should be your servant, not your identity.
Once it becomes who you are, you've already lost.
Because when your ego feeds on wealth, it starts starving the moment you're broke. But when your confidence feeds on structure,
no loss can touch you. He believed power was internal. It's how you think when everything collapses, how you move when no one's watching, how you rebuild when no one helps.
Money can't buy that. It can only reveal if you have it. And the irony? The ones who deserve power rarely flaunt it. They don't talk about winning. They design environments where losing isn't possible. They don't need to prove themselves.
They just execute.
That's the Machiavelli mindset. Move in silence, think in decades, act like you've already won. Money is loud. Power is quiet. One buys comfort, the other buys permanence.
And permanence is what Machiavelli chased. Not fame, not luxury, but legacy.
The kind of power that keeps speaking even when you're gone. He said, the goal isn't to die rich, it's to die impossible to replace. That's what true power sounds like. It echoes beyond your lifetime. It's built in how you think, how you teach, how you transform what you touch. So when you chase money, remember this. It's not the finish line. It's the flashlight. It will show you who you are, what you value, and what you're willing to trade. Some people will find peace in it.
others will find ruin.
But the ones who deserve it, they'll find purpose, and that's the final law of Machiavelli. Money can't buy power, but it will always reveal who's built for it. Closing, money is temporary, power is eternal. The world will always chase wealth, but the ones who understand control, they build it. So don't run after paper, build presence. Don't beg for attention, build influence. Because when you master silence, when you don't need to prove anything, that's when people start moving around you. Money may open doors, but power decides who walks through them. And remember, the richest man dies, but the powerful one, he never leaves.